We're recording.
Yes, okay. Meeting, please come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Berard, Fleming, Funderburk, Levine, and Noonan present.
This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I have no opening remarks. Madam General Manager.
I would like to offer my time to the head of the water system to make a few comments.
Thank you. Just a few brief announcements. We left you something at your seats today. It was a flyer dedicating the Owens Lake Trails. This was part of the Phase 7A project at Owens Lake. It was the chance to do a real-life application of the Owens Lake Master Plan. And so what we've done is we actually created a habitat area with 3 trailheads. There's actually a commemorative bandana that goes along with that we have given to each of you. We had a dedication ceremony last Friday. I know Commissioner Funderburk was there, along with other folks from our staff. We actually had speakers from the Lone Pine Tribe, the Eastern Sierra Audubon, as well as 2 Inyo County supervisors, all there to help us celebrate the event. It's a great success, and I think it's a model of where we want to go with the lake in terms of public access and improving habitat areas, at the same time conserving water supply. That's the first thing. Commissioner, did you have anything you wanted to add about that? I know you were there.
Well, I wasn't there. I would have liked to have been there, but I'm sure, as President Levine would say, that we're happy that the parties are cooperating and working their way to implementing the various settlements and agreements that have taken place up there.
Both Bill and I were there virtually.
I know he was trying to make the trip. I was elsewhere myself. I apologize. Secondly, we have actually another award that we received. Just the other day, we received this from the American Academy of Environmental Engineers and Scientists. It's the National Grand Prize Award in Planning, and this was received for our action plan tied to our water loss audit. You may recall about a year and a half ago we completed our water loss audit. That it reaffirmed that we have a very tight system, but at the same time, we're looking for ways to reduce water losses. And so we came up with what we understand maybe the most comprehensive and first of its kind plan in the nation, a water loss action plan for how to go after those minor losses and continue to drive our lost water down. And for that, we received this award.
Very nice.
And then lastly, on Thursday, we're celebrating Tap Water Day. There's a drinking fountain dedication over at City Hall East on the side, just off the sidewalk area. Worked in conjunction with Department of General Services to get that installed. There's not a lot of fountains around downtown, so this is in a much needed location. And everyone's invited to join us. We'll be there at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning to dedicate that. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty. Questions or comments? Okay, comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations. Commissioner Noonan.
Well, I truly appreciate the time that our staff took to meet with me earlier this morning, specifically as it relates to item number 9 on the agenda. And although now I'm very well versed as to why the second amendment is being requested, I do think it's imperative that there is a formal presentation provided to the board and to the ratepayers explaining the long-term overall IT strategic plan, because time and again we're asked to approve a lot of money for several amendments given the fact that we want to modernize our technology frame. But obviously this is a very complicated issue, and I think that we should be well versed as to where we are now, where we want to go, and when approving major contracts like number 9, the original item was approved for $10 million. The First Amendment, we offered another $2.5 million. Now they're asking for another $2.5 million. I have a very difficult time processing that without feeling that the company that we've engaged with is not taking advantage of the department. I have been given information as to why that's not the case for item number 9, but I do believe that we really need to have a better understanding of the overall long-term IT strategic plan for the Department of Water and Power in LA.
So you want to pull item 9 from the consent calendar?
No. I just think, given the lengthy conversation we had, I think it's more imperative than ever that this be presented to the board, because item number 9 mirrors a lot of the other agenda items that we have approved, other amendments that we've approved relating to IT. And I don't want companies that we engage with thinking that it's normal protocol to sign an original agreement with us, and for the department to think that they did not take a tenacious and look and do the due diligence to understand what other utilities may have had problems with, may have experienced, so that we can cut back on some of these amendment costs.
Okay, but so my procedural question is, you will want to pull item 9 from the consent calendar?
Not unless the other commissioners do. I don't like it, but I understand it now that we've met. But my request is that a formal presentation be made by David relating to the long-term IT strategic plan for the Department of Water and Power. And perhaps it can be done like a family branch tree, because I understand that there's so many different divisions that work alongside one another. But I hope you can respect that I feel as a commissioner, it's my fiduciary duty to make sure that I just can't stamp one amendment after another amendment for IT issues.
But my only question is, do you want to remove it from the consent calendar or not?
Like I said, I do not wish to remove item number 9 from the consent calendar. What I'm asking for is a formal presentation given by David Wright in the future to address the long-term IT strategy for the Department of Water and Power.
I didn't understand. Okay, I understand.
Apologize.
Okay.
Would you, I could make just a couple comments right now. Commissioner Noonan is right on point. In the recruitment document for the IT director that was just recently closed, it made specific additions to that recruitment flyer to say a strategic plan development and prioritization of conversion or new systems was going to be a major part of this new position's job, because we don't have that comprehensive strategic plan, and it's very necessary. So that is the first task that I'll be assigning to the IT director when he or she is hired, because we very much need one.
But, with all due respect, I'm not sure when this person's going to be hired, but I do think that the ratepayers are spending millions and millions of dollars on these amendments. And so as soon as practical, I think it really should surpass other presentations that I know are lined up. But I think it's key for our board and for the ratepayers to understand what our long-term IT strategic plan is, so that when these amendments are requested, that they understand why the amendments or requirements are being made and requested. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners on agendized items?
Yes, I want to, are you asking for what needs to be pulled from the
No,
consent
I'm not
calendar?
asking that yet. I just was curious, in light of what Commissioner Noonan said, whether she wanted to pull that
I
item.
kind of,
Okay. So we'll get to that.
but I did have one comment, because after the last meeting, I met with Nancy Sutley and her staff on the equity metrics. Things are moving along on that, and I want to thank Nancy for the support, and Marcy, you for the support that you provided on that. I expect at the next meeting for a calendar to, in terms of the rollout of how we're doing. So I would hope that, based on the statement that I made last meeting, that we have some type of calendar, even if there's no detailed rationale, but a calendar for how we're going to roll these out over the next 7 months. So that's it.
Any other commissioner comments? Public comment. One speaker card. Barbara, would you please call the speaker?
Yes, the speaker is Dr. Woodrow Clark.
Hi, Commissioners. The last time I was here, and I know several of you, my hair was darker and I was a little bit overweight, so I'm going on a diet. My hair now is gray, which means I'm looking more mature, right? It's ironic that I'm here at the time when Commissioner Noonan made the comment and the other remarks regarding what has to be done in the technology area. Just so that you know, my latest book, this is my 11th book, is called Smart Green Cities. and communities. In other words, we have to connect technology also with what is green, and I can go on and define that, but I will not. I'm here in part to let you all know that my last book, which came out a year and a half ago, and then another version of it this summer, is called The Green Industrial Revolution. And yes, it's in Mandarin. I notice a lot of people in the audience seem to be from China, so I let them know that we have a book now in Mandarin on the Green Industrial Revolution. And by the way, just so that you know, it's also in English. But I'm really here in part to tell you all, the last time I was here had to do with my first book, and was after I served Governor Davis as a renewable energy advisor in his administration. And as you all know, we were quote-unquote recalled. No one smiled at that? I'm sorry, you all forgot that. That was only 10 to 12 years ago. But my first book was called Agile Energy Systems. And I have been asked to update it. And I'm here in part because I want to involve DWP and your staff in doing that. It talks about having central energy systems, but also on-site distributed systems. That's why the word agile is being used. In other words, both, flexible. And I want to make that point to some of you because I think it's something you should be thinking about and understanding, and I think I might be able to help you in that regard. I am now in the process, because the publisher, Elsevier Press, has asked me, after 12 years of the book being out, to update it. And I really think it would be great to have the input into that book from DWP and some of your staff members and also your commissioners. So I'm here today to sort of let you all know about that, and I think it's a really important thing. And I believe it's an amazing issue that's going to be affecting the entire world, not just California and Southern California. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you, Dr. Clark, for your public service in sustainability and renewable energy. You always had an open door for me when I was working on renewable energy projects, so I want to thank you for your contribution. And are you here to sell books, or?
No.
Is he signing? Is he signing?
Not at all. I'm here really to tell you that, I mean, it's a really important topic, and I just heard Commissioner Noonan bring that out in terms of that one item. And I really want to make it a point because it also has to be technology and green. And in fact, they have to be combined together because they actually support one another. Nothing to do with the book, except if you want to get one, let me know, Bill, all right?
We'll look forward to hearing from you.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you. Comments from ratepayer advocate.
We'll have brief comments on items 26.
Okay, we move to item 6, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 19th, at which Commissioners Levine, Funderburk, Noonan, and Barad were present?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
They're approved. Okay, do commissioners, well, there will be a motion to defer from the consent calendar items 21, 22, and 24, which have received requests for deferral. Do commissioners wish to remove any other items from the consent calendar?
I do.
Which one? Or ones?
11, 12, 20, 23, and 24.
11, 12, 20, 23, and 24. Any others?
I think 24 is a request to be deferred.
Well, we'll do these separately. First, we'll remove items from the consent calendar, and then if there are some that are to be deferred, we'll deal with that secondly. So that leaves on the consent calendar items 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 25. Is there a motion to approve those items?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. Those items are approved. Now, is there a motion to defer? There have been requests to defer items 21, 22, and 24.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor of those deferrals?
Aye.
Those are deferred. Okay, so
I'm sorry, we did have a speaker card on item 17.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So we, will, by unanimous consent, restore item 17 to the non-consent calendar, and we will start with that one. Is there objection?
No.
Okay. So the items still to be heard, for those of you in the audience who are completely confused by what I've said, we will be hearing items 17, 20, 23, and 26. All of the other items on the consent
And
calendar.
11 and 12?
I'm sorry, just a second. And 11 and 12, yes, and 11 and 12. So we'll begin with item 11. Commissioner Funderburk, do you want to begin the discussion, as it was you who removed this item from the consent calendar?
Yes, and I want to personally thank DeLon and Dave Pettyjohn, DeLon Quan and Dave Pettyjohn, for giving the briefing. But this is something that I had question on that I don't know if you can answer, DeLon, related to what jurisdiction and power our commission has to take care of, require new developers to make more significant contributions to our water supply. And just in follow-up to the question that I raised when we were talking, I wanted to know how we're pricing resiliency into our water system. I had raised the issue of what an insurance premium might cost to insure against the collapse of our water system during some event, and I'm interested in seeing whether there was any way to continue to place incentives before developers who are doing new development in the marginal cost and stress that is being placed on our water system, regardless of what we're doing for water conservation. So, yeah.
Okay. So with respect to the contributions that developers have when they have water supply assessments that come before you, they currently are voluntarily committing to go above and beyond savings on their own. This is at their own cost and voluntary. So for these two projects that are before you today, the LAX Landside Access Modernization Program, they are committing to an additional 5 to 6% additional conservation savings above and beyond what the ordinance currently requires. And on the project for 1020 South Figueroa Street project, they're achieving about 5.2% additional above and beyond conservation savings. Going forward, to have them potentially do even more than that, the ordinance currently does not allow us to do that. If they are going to do something above and beyond, it'll be on their voluntary basis. In terms of potentially looking for developments to do more, I know the County Board of Supervisors just recently had a motion regarding the net zero with development. We're going to be part of that working group that participates with the county, as they have a year timeline to kind of look at what potential net zero policy that could be implemented at the county level. So we're going to participate in that working group, and then we'll see kind of what the county and the city can kind of put together.
So is this something that we really don't have much power over? It's already decided for us, and it's really up to the city council, and we don't get involved in making recommendations related to how we can make these voluntary commitments more mandatory.
I don't think this board is precluded from making any recommendations. What I don't know exactly is the current jurisdiction over this issue, but I don't believe that anything precludes the board from evaluating the current policies and suggesting changes if they are council-driven. But I'm still not yet clear myself what does or doesn't fall directly under the jurisdiction of the board. And Marty, I'm going to have to ask you to to define that for me.
Yes. Did you want to say something first, Joe?
Yeah, under the water supply assessment is an administrative function, so who's ever performing the CEQA analysis is required under state law to present it to the water agency providing the water service for that development. So it really is, in the context of the water supply assessment, it is a administrative function. The parameters are set up by other agencies, so it comes to you saying, can you, based upon your water management plan, do you have the ability to provide water for this project? The ability to make recommendations and stuff is outside of that water supply assessment. So you still have the ability to make recommendations to changes in plumbing codes and things like that would be considered in that process, but the water supply assessment itself is a purely administrative function required by the state.
Where would the responsibility lie for, as an example, creative incentives for developers, or suggesting that their submittal be water neutral, or
Thank you.
So
who manages
that could come from the CEQA agency, from the Building and Safety Code. There's several areas where that can come from, and it's the agency that's providing the CEQA analysis that would be responsible for that. But again, you could have building and planning require different codes for plumbing purposes.
So it's really the planning department?
That would be one of them.
Okay.
So I will add on. So the water use efficiency ordinance is getting amended, or has been amended, and actually is going into effect with the latest recent amendments. So those amendments are going to put higher levels of water use efficiency for all new developments. So any development project that comes across through a WSA, we're going to make sure that those projects, when we do the estimated water demand calculations, are going to meet those new, more stringent water use efficiency requirements for certain plumbing fixtures. So as more amendments get implemented for more higher use water use efficiencies, the opportunities are going to kind of get harder and harder as they become ordinance, and the voluntary is going to kind of start to decrease.
And I think along those lines, so the ordinance was just amended, and we saw the details. We've been working with Building and Safety yesterday at the Water Cabinet meeting. They discussed all the changes, and those are they're following the state model landscape ordinances, the same ones that we would use if we're looking at Tier 4 customers for potential excessive use. They're looking at other indoor use ordinances, and so the city's driving that down from a planning standpoint. And the water supply assessments, which I think about 27% of the increases or new developments come through water supply assessments. The small ones don't come through that process, but that is mostly to make sure that the water supply that a project needs is consistent in the board's eyes with our urban water management plan and the provisions that we've made to supply water, and that you find that we've been planning for water supply based on the city's current zoning and the city's ultimate planning build out, and so that you'd find that this project's consistent with the plans that we've made for overall water supply picture.
I mean, I initially raised the concern because we're in a drought, we're still in a drought, and I just wanted to make sure that we were holding the new developers accountable for participating in that, and it sounds like you're doing everything that you can.
Marty, could I ask you to create something for the board that's a distillate of the information that you got from the cabinet yesterday? What have been the recent changes? What have been the trend lines, so that the board can more clearly understand the pressure that's being placed on the development community with respect to water use?
Yes, absolutely. I just got a handout yesterday afternoon, so I'll share it with everybody so you can see what the changes, and some of them are pretty significant.
Great, thank you.
And then on the resiliency aspect of it, currently we value the water based on a offset to a metropolitan water district water rate, and then we tack on top of that the subsidy that MET provides for local resource development. That's about $340 an acre foot. So right now we value the water historically based on about a $1,500 an acre foot cost to offset a MET purchase. Going forward, we did hear your concern about, well, what about the risk and the insurance policy in the event of a loss of supply, for example. So we could look into that in terms of seeing if you tack on the risk and then the insurance part of that, can kind of look into that further and report back.
if I could add one additional thing to that, in terms of the actual physical system itself, besides the water supply aspect, when any project comes through, whether it's through a water supply assessment or even just a change of use, when someone needs a new water service, or a lot of times driven by increased fire requirements, if there's physical infrastructure change that have to be made, those are always borne by the developer. So we do have upgrades in the streets that are going hand in hand with developments that cause higher water use. At the same time, we're also taking a better longer range look, not just 20 or 30 years, but for the next 100 years, looking at the planned changes for the city skyline, where there's new businesses developing, to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place, that when these new structures go up, that the pipe in the street are going to be in good shape and not going to need replacing right after new businesses open. So we're looking not only from the developer contributions, but also what we want to have for reliability from our own standpoint, as far as the physical infrastructure goes.
That's great. I'd be interested in knowing just on the pricing end of things, because I know that we've done this rate adjustment, and I think to set things up in 2 years when we have our look back, I want to make sure that the board, whoever it is that's in place then, knows that we're making our water investments, we're making enough water investments. And I think that understanding what it would cost to insure against, it's more of a risk management issue, what it would cost to insure against some of these failures, benchmarking that against whether that metric or tool is used as a way of justifying investments over and above what may seem like the current price of water as the market is dictating.
And we'll be bringing the urban water management plan to the board next meeting. And one of the things we have to analyze as part of the state's requirements is a multi-year drought. And so that is part of the planning scenario required by the state to make sure that we have adequate supplies provided for us.
Is there going to be an action required of the board on the urban water management plan?
The board will have to adopt
Could I
that.
ask you then to stage it, do a presentation, allow the board to ask questions and provide you feedback, and then bring it for action at a subsequent meeting?
I think we can do that. Okay.
We have a deadline to submit to the state, so the May 17th board meeting will get us roughly about a 2-week cushion or less to submit it by the state by July 1st. So
we'd have time to do it in 2 pieces, I think.
It's going to be close to submitting it by the July 1st.
It's been a long process because of the number of public meetings we've had, but
Which is true, but still problematic planning on our part shouldn't constitute an emergency for the board to have to vote. So let's try really hard on things like that we give them more flexibility.
we'll make it work.
So thank you again. I mean, my point on the resilience and monetization issue is, if we would spend $50 million on an insurance policy to insure, or $100 million on an insurance policy to insure against some failures per year, are we spending that to insure against that risk? And is that risk covered by our existing insurance? I'm not sure that our existing insurance covers, even our umbrella amounts cover something that goes over $500 million or up to $1 billion. So it might be remote, but I think that the insurance markets have a way of pricing those things. And that's not something that you need to come back with immediately, but I think it's important information to help.
I would offer, sir, just from a perspective standpoint, one of the advantages we have from a governmental perspective is that we also can reach into FEMA.
Correct.
And that's helped a lot in some of the larger disaster recovery scenarios.
Yeah, I assume that the federal government's our umbrella insurer, our ultimate umbrella insurer, but I'm sure also that there are things that
should be augmented.
waiting
Absolutely.
times that might bog things down. Not
Yep.
that the federal government would ever wait on things, but thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's approved. Item 12.
Did you have further questions on 12? It's the same topic.
Oh, sorry,
just different
yes,
result.
No, I don't.
Okay, is there a motion on 12?
So moved.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. 17, we have a speaker, Barbara?
Yes, the speaker is Don Justin Jones.
Good afternoon, Board Chairman. Could you please let me know how much time I have?
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. 2 months ago, I was here in front of the board to let you know that we were prepared to fly drones over a project in the Salt River Project, the Navajo Generating Station. We did that successfully. I'm here today because item 17 talks about the use of helicopters, a technology that they want to use to do inspections of reservoirs, dams, transportation observation supports. We believe that that should be enhanced by using remote aerial systems of the kind that we have been proposing and just deployed. We received a request from the Salt River Project for UAS assessment, which included overlying patrol objectives, transmission system objectives, and cat area system deliverables. We recently flew this in the course of a 3-day flight. We believe that we're very successful, and we would like, of course, to see how the technology transfer from what we're learning in the field can be applied here to the department. Since the department has a 22% interest in the SRP and seeks to retain influence in the transmission corridors, we believe that this is an effective way to train Native American youth who are affected in the generation, transmission, distribution dynamic to come up with new jobs. We've approached the IBEW in terms of a training program for their members. We see this as a win-win situation. While I don't seek to come here and bust someone else's rice bowl on the purchase of this contract, I do think that the department should take a look at this alternative technology that's within your grasp. Now, we're a local company, minority-owned, 100% development-oriented. Our partners are in AeroVironmental, a large company located in Simi Valley, very reputable. We have 7 platforms in the Smithsonian Institution, so it's not an overnight development. It's something that we believe will enhance our city and something that we believe should be taken a look at. So with your indulgence, I'd like to offer that modest proposal that someone contact us and allow us to make a presentation for what we've just done. Thank you so much for your
Thank you very much.
Could I ask him a question,
Sure.
Mr. President? What was your name again?
Don Justin Jones.
And you're with what firm?
I'm the managing director of COPEC, COPEC.
And I'm very supportive of small and local businesses.
Just to point out that we were the first carbon offset brokers for the Department of Water and Power back in 1996, back in the dark ages when climate change was just a concept, and we talked about global warming. So we're vetted here. I went to local elementary schools, high schools, college, law school here, all within 5 miles of this building.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask you was, are you aware that there's a prohibition on power authorities using drones, that there's an FAA issue?
You know, we work very closely with the Federal Aviation Administration. We stayed within their guidelines, under 400 feet, within line of sight. So everything that we've done, it confirms and conforms that these are emerging opportunities. Now, the FAA has rules that are in transition. So what we're talking about is not flying them over the city, but in remote areas.
No, I'm talking about FAA rules that have somehow taken public, some certain agencies of government, not municipal governments themselves, out of the exemption. So I don't know if we can even consider doing something like that until the FAA fixes that.
One example, and you're totally correct, the FAA has excluded certain groups. The native tribes, the Pueblos, those who were affected by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, are not public entities, and therefore we need COAs, conditional operating agreements, to fly in our own airspace. We have achieved those COAs to fly in the Salt River Project and have over 1 million acres under COA. So the issue of the federal administration's acceptance of this, we believe, has been mooted because one of the partners in the SRP, Salt River Project, is the Bureau of Reclamation. They own 24%. We've made presentations to them in Washington and in Las Vegas. We think that we totally conform with the emerging regulations. But I welcome the opportunity to talk to anybody here that would like to explore that more.
I'll look forward to hearing whatever you have to say about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Is there a motion on 17?
I'll move.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. 20, Commissioner Funderburk.
Thank you, Susan, and thanks for the work up on it. And I just want to be kept up to date on what's going on in the construction over the next, every 3 to 6 months. And I think that there's a long time, something that this is part of our upgrades, I assume, that we're doing to our system. And if you have any comment on it, feel free to, but I'm very supportive of it.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Well, this will continue our conversion of our disinfectant from chlorine to chloramines. We did the majority of that conversion back in 2014, but there are certain pockets that we are still converting, and this is one of them. So this is a project that will continue it, and we will do this with our internal forces.
Right. Thanks, that's it.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Thank you.
Item 21, oh wait, that one was deferred. 22 is deferred. 23. Item 23, Commissioner Funderburk.
Commissioner, is there a specific question you have on that one? Or
No, just a comment to report to the law firms that we are approving that they may be, that they'll be asked to report on their gender and other CPUC Order 156 participations.
Certainly.
And that's it. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
That's approved. Item 26. Approval of the Elysian Park Downtown Water Recycling Projects in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. This is simply CEQA, right, at this point?
Yes.
Well, I believe it's certifying the CEQA document and the approval of the project is what we're asking you to consider today.
Marty, that's not what I was told earlier.
It's
so
the
let's
approval.
work through
It's the
it.
certification of the EIR
Right.
for these two projects.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
So
It's
let's
not-
be clear,
yes.
this is
I was wrong. Sorry.
There's
an
no
approval of the
there's no
CEQA
funding.
This is not
It's
approval of the
certification.
project, this
That
is
is
approval of the
correct.
CEQA documents
Right.
only.
That
Correct.
is
Is that
correct.
correct?
That is correct.
Okay, that's an important distinction.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So Susan Rugani from Water Engineering Technical Services, and then Chuck Holloway is up here to describe give a presentation about the environmental impact report.
Okay, we've prepared a brief overview of the project. Again, I'm Chuck Holloway. I manage the environmental planning group for the department. Let's see if I can get this worked out right. So actually, the environmental impact report covered two projects, the Elysian Park and also the central Los Angeles area, downtown water recycling project. It's to expand the existing recycled water pipeline network from either Taylor Yard for the Elysian Park recycled water project and the Los Angeles State Historic Park for the downtown WRP. And it will supply approximately 2,500 acre-feet per year of recycled water to both those projects. This is a map of the Elysian Park, the proposed project, and it would start just west of the Los Angeles River, go through the Elysian Valley neighborhood, cross under the Golden State Freeway, and then up Stadium Way. The purple lines indicate the purple pipe, and then as part of that would also include some potable water pipes that would supply some, excuse me, drinking fountains and restrooms within the park. There's also a 2 million gallon recycled water storage tank and a pump station associated with those projects. And as we were going through the design and the environmental process, we looked at a number of alternatives. I think we originally had 6 or 8 alignments. We narrowed it down to 4 alignments through the Elysian Valley area. And there were a number, some of the consistence between all the alignments as we knew where we were going to tap into where we were going to pick up the water and where we needed to cross under Interstate 5. And is what we ended up with was this was the environmentally superior alternative. And the downtown water recycle project is approximately 16 miles of recycled water pipeline, and includes an underground pressure regulator station that would be constructed on San Fernando Road south of Loosemore Street. Excuse me. The project cost is about $27 million for design and construction of the Legion Park Water Recycle Project, and a little less than $46 million for design and construction of the downtown project. The objective is to improve the reliability of the city's water supply through the increased use of recycled water, to comply with the department's 2010 Urban Water Management Plan, to construct infrastructure so we can convey recycled water to various industrial and irrigation customers, and comply with the mayor's 2014 Executive Directive Number 5 and his sustainability city LA plan. We prepared and circulated a mitigated negative declaration in September or the fall of 2012. There were some changes in the project, and so we recirculated the MND for public review and comment approximately a year later in late 2013. Then there were some additional physical and design constraints that we needed to consider, and we ended up with a different preferred alignment for the downtown area. And so we made a decision to prepare a draft environmental impact report. And it considered and evaluated 9 alternatives, mainly routing alternatives. And that draft environmental impact report was circulated for public review and comment in March of 2015. It went out originally for a 45-day public review at the request of some public requests and interest. We increased that to 90 days public review, and we received 229 public comment letters. The main comments were concerns regarding construction near Doris Place Elementary School and along that pipeline alignment. And the concerns were noise, mainly noise, air quality, and traffic. We've been coordinating with the school and the community and are committed to a number of things to help mitigate this. Construction would occur during the summer months. It's approximately going to be in front of the school about 2 weeks. The air quality thresholds, we coordinated with Bill Piazza with LA Unified School District and did our studies to their standards, and were able to satisfy any concerns there. And then the traffic along the Doris Place road, it's sequential, it's a moving impact, and although it's several miles long, it's kind of a moving impact. And then there were some biological concerns regarding the Los Angeles River, and we have no impacts. There's no change in the discharges to the river. There were 26 meetings held with neighborhood councils, council districts, business improvement districts, and community groups. We did have one public scoping meeting was held when we released the notice of a preparation of the environmental impact report, and 2 public meetings were held during the public review and comment for the actual draft DIR. And this is kind of an estimated schedule. We're here today to present for your consideration is certification of the environmental impact report. And if everything goes well, we're estimating construction would start on the Elysian Park part of the project in the fall of 2016 for about 4 years of construction, and the downtown section would be begin in the fall of 2018. So that's it. Thank you
very much.
I would make the observation, because it's been made to me by some of you as well as some of our ratepayers is this is not the return on investment nor the funding approval, and I think it will serve this group to have a healthy debate on the underpinnings and assumptions when that contract comes forward.
Dr. Pickle.
For the reasons stated by Marcy, we would like a report back on when this project reaches its next project gateways in terms of the economic review. We'd be happy with a report back as part of the water report, but if the board desires something more extensive, I'll leave that to you.
Thank you.
I have a specific request. I think that Jack Humphreyville sent an email out, and while I'm prepared to approve this, I'd like to make sure that the report back to the ratepayer and to the board includes a response to Mr. Humphreyville's concern. I happen to personally think, and it may be off base, that I know that Mr. Humphreyville does a lot of work. I appreciate the time that he invests. He cares about our system, but his background is in Wall Street, and I think that there are there may be some different factors that apply when doing the cost analysis and the rate of return analysis that may be different in the private sector than our public sector.
We'd be more than happy to bring back report. And there's good recycle projects and not so good ones because it's really based on what the cost of water is. We're trying to pursue only the projects that we think are a payoff, but we'd really like the board to look at that and make sure that you're in agreement with that and that these numbers make sense. So we'll be happy to bring all that information back.
I understand we have 5 speaker cards on this, Barbara?
Yes. The first speaker is Blair Lanane. Hmm? What person is that?
John Hahn.
Okay, John Hahn.
Yes. Good morning, board. My name is John Hahn, and I am the principal at Doris Place Elementary School. Thank you very much for this time this morning. I want to begin by asking you, do any of you know where or have seen Doris Place Elementary School? Oh, come on, you've seen the school before? Well, I couldn't bring you to the school, so I brought the school to you. So I have a picture of our school right here, and it was built in 1925. Probably you've seen it on television commercials. And so, I'm supposed to be coming up here, but
Can't see that.
protocol to pass this out, but like I said, I came to you to come to a school. So once again, my name was John Hahn. I am here to represent my school. We are a Title I school, meaning that 80% of our students receive free or reduced lunch, and they get additional funding to support our program. We're here to talk about the Legion Park Recycled Water Project, and I represent about 326 students and their families, and I do have some of my parents here today as well. For those of you that don't know Doris Place, we are last time when we had test scores, we had an 884 API score, so that's an extremely high score for a school that's a Title I school, and so I'm very proud of that fact. I have included in the past handouts there our school report card, where you will see that our school exceeds the district average in terms of the students' test scores by a minimum of 26% on some of the tests. The reason why I'm here today is because Doris Place is an anomaly. It's not a typical LAUSD school. As you can see, its brick facade kind of has a certain effect to it, and the neighborhood reflects that as well. We get quite a bit of revenue, the district and the school, for filming projects that happen, and literally happening every day, and not just limited to the summertime. The sheet that's going around for you shows an average of our summer funding for the filming, and that average was about $36,000 just for the summer months. Our filming funding helps pay for our psychologists, our nurse. It also helps pay for our teacher assistants and campus aides, and it's really what makes our school a very unique place and a very successful place in the district. Almost my time. So my request would be that you would use an alternative, which is Altman. It would not go in the front of the school. The front of the school is what actually allows people to come film at our school. It has that effect of the East Coast. And my last, like I said, my time is up, but I bring this string, it's actually my shoelace, and this was an example somebody gave to me. This is the life of the school. And the construction that you're coming to do is about this much of the school here, my finger's length. We have to live there and work there and be there, part of the community. So I'd hope you consider taking just a side route, which I believe is about 90 square feet of piping, 1 day of work, to avoid going down the front of our school. Our school has a picturesque type of a look to it that's been there for over almost 100 years. So I thank you very much for your time, and I hope you consider all these factors I brought in.
Have you discussed this with staff prior to today?
Yes, I did. I spoke to John Hine. He took me to a tour of a possible, like how big the piping was going to be. And we had said that if they went down Altman, which is the backside of our school, which is a slight detour, it would mitigate any of these issues that we have in terms of our school's historic effects. I don't know about the jacking, how much it's going to affect the structure of the school. But like I said, it's a beautiful school. I'm very fortunate to be the principal there.
Thank you.
I know that we typically don't respond to public commentary, but I do request, if you're not prepared now, I would like information. If it really is as minor as this gentleman states it is, to rework a pipeline, it should be something that can be considered. I don't know if you can speak to it now.
What we have up on the screen is the various alignments that we looked at. Actually, it's a little bit different than the EIR, but you could see the one that the preferred alternative is the one that's in red. It's the most direct route. I believe the one that is being referred to is the route in green, which basically would take much the same route, except it makes a kind of that block around at the back of the school and gets to the same place. So that's the difference in the two alignments.
This is the school, the property.
What's the delta in price and the difference in efficiencies?
So it's about 600 feet of pipeline that has to be installed, and these are very rough figures, but about $200,000.
I know from an engineering standpoint, a straight line makes the most sense. But our school would try to keep the way it looks, and that's not done by making it the fastest, the most efficient way. We're here to make our decisions to keep the culture of the school and keep the integrity of that's been there for like 90 years this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize, just one more question. Just for clarification's sake, if we do the straight line, are you stating, how would this impact your school? Are you stating your school would have to go away, or it would have to be reconfigured? Can you just elaborate on
so it would affect our
consequences?
filming, because the reason why people come to film at our school is because of the great facade and the street and the trees and commercials and everything like that. And that actually helps offset a lot of our revenues. So if this is taken away, it's going to affect the way that the street looks by having a cut right down the middle of it. The noise and the pollution are definitely things to consider, but this filming was not considered in the report, and it's not cited anywhere in there, but it's a huge supplemental fund that our school is able to use to help us be a high-performing school at this time.
All right. Well, again, President Levine, I appreciate you indulging me, because this is atypical from public commentary. But, and forgive me, my children are at home sick, and I obviously have contacted whatever they have, so I apologize all the coughing. But because I am taking your commentary seriously, how much revenue does the school make annually, or has for the past 10 years?
So I gave a 3-year report to John, and 1 year we had $85,000 because they filmed the whole movie there. 1 year it was about $12,000, $13,000. But on average, the past 3 years, is what I pulled up, was about $36,000 just for those summer months. But what I want to bring up is the fact that if you put this pipe in the middle of our school, it's going to affect the way it looks for many future filming projects. So it's not going to just affect us in the short term, but in the long term, it will affect us as well. And that's what I'm asking, to just make that slight bend down Altman.
So I just have a question, Mr. President. A couple weeks ago, you all approved, it was the dissent, you all approved a pilot project about small businesses being economically affected by projects. So I'd like to know whether or not the public school in this case would qualify for the same thing, because $36,000, even if it took a much longer period, is a lot cheaper than the $200,000 reroute. I mean, what's good for the goose, if you're going to approve it for small businesses, I would also think that the school would qualify in its own way.
I think there is some additional information we probably need to talk further with staff, even though we are just at the CEQA process, because some of this, as an example, that program was for those that were impacted over years, and I don't hear how burying a pipe in front of the school impacts them for years, because typically we don't leave a cut mark, we fill it in and then go back and repave. So I'm having trouble understanding the significance of the negative impacts, and I think we need to talk about it with staff more.
The filming people that come take a look at our school, they don't like the birds of paradise because they make our school look like it's a West Coast school. So, I mean, they're very particular in the way the look of the school is. So, just to respond to that question.
I think you've definitely gotten the board's attention, and I think that there's a desire for staff to review your concerns.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next speaker is Blair Lenane.
I would also just remind the board that this is a financial question. It's not part of the CEQA approval process, so you're not losing your opportunity to have further dialogue on that.
Hello, good morning. My name is Blair Lenane. I am the Executive Director of Partners of Doris, a nonprofit 501c3 that returns essential programs to public education. I also advocate for parents and students at Doris Place Elementary. Since we have come along, actually I'm going to back up. I'm going to take a breath, and I'm just going to be relieved that I know you're a parent at least, and the rest of you look like reasonable people that may have children. If you have children, then certainly you've considered sending them to quality schools, because a phenomenal college education starts taking place at the elementary school level. If they're in a cruddy school, that's not a good sign for them to not drop out in high school. What we have done, we have built numerous programs at Doris Place Elementary because it's an anomaly that outscored 3 gifted magnets and a math, science, technology magnet. One of the things we have built is a music program. We have 2 orchestras at Doris Place that serve violins, violas, cellos to all the students. We have music from kindergarten to 6th grade, also anomaly. You won't find it in normal LAUSD schools. We fund this through our fall festival, which would take place, I saw fall 2017 and had a slight palpitation at the idea of there being any kind of construction taking place during the time where we raise all the funding in one fell swoop. Having said all that, safety is the major concern here. In LAUSD, the ratio to yard supervisors to students at recess is around 1 to 200 students. Now, think about if you've ever taken your children on a play date or had a sleepover. Would you have more than 12 kids at your house at one time and be responsible to their parents for their safe return? I would need a cocktail if I had more than 6 children at my house overnight. Our ratio at Doris Place is 1 to 40. And even that is not fantastic. But we have that ratio because we pay for those yard supervisors with filming money. I can raise money for a music program. You would donate to something like that. Would you donate for yard supervision and teacher's assistants that help us keep our academic level up high because of the high student to teacher ratios? And would you pay that for yard supervisors to keep the children safe? Please consider it Altman. Number 6 on your resolution.
Okay, the next speaker is Mia Livis Porter. Oh, she had to leave? Okay. The next speaker then would be Yolanda Lynn.
Good afternoon, Board. Thank you for your time today. My name is Yolanda Lynn. I'm Programs Director of Operations for Partners of Doris, a nonprofit 501c3 returning essential programs back to public education. I just want to piggyback on Principal John Hahn's statements as well as Blair Lenane's that the EIR as it stands, or the resolution that stands today, needs to be reconsidered, or a motion needs to be set in place that the current route that goes through Doris Place, the most environmentally superior route, as stated by Mr. Halloway, be considered for Altman. I believe on the EIR document, it was number 6 of the option. Again, film revenue is very important to Doris Place. some of you are having a hard time understanding why would construction affect the school. We all live in Los Angeles. This is the land of film and opportunity in Hollywood. If a film crew comes on site and they film something, they may not want to come back if they see there's construction. If they find another school in the meantime where they're able to meet their needs and be able to go back year after year for reshots, that's a lost revenue stream. We've stated $36,000 on average every year, but you cannot quantify greater impact potential if the front of the school stays pristine. So I think everything else has been said, but if you could motion for an addendum to reconsider the route, not going through Doris Place, but to Altman, it would be greatly appreciated, not by me as a parent, but by all of the students, community members of Elysian Valley and Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Douglas Laura.
I'm also a parent of a student at Doris Place, and I'm also one of the directors at Partners of Doris. Just to follow along with the same comments as mentioned before, if they can also take the alternative route of taking Altman instead of Doris Place. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that out of the 229 comments that were submitted, I'm pretty certain that there was some mention about filming, although it wasn't mentioned today, but I know that it was brought up before in the previous meetings we had regarding this issue. I remember the summer of 2013 is when I brought my daughter to school. I was enrolling her. And I had a weird feeling when I came into the school because everything was dark and there was props and everything. And I was wondering, what is going on in here? And there was filming. There was a movie being filmed. And it was so cool to know that the school was being used to, bring funding into the school. And 3 years later, I'm pretty sure that the effects of that filming that was done 3 years ago is still beneficial today. So I think that making a slight detour on Altman or any other routes that they can take would be very beneficial for the school because it, like they said already before, it's going to impact not only in 1 year, 2 years. I know I'm aware that in order for them to do filming, they have to go through an approval process, which takes a long time. By that time, they might want to go to another school and maybe not come back for the following year. So I know that it's going to be greatly affected, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That was the last speaker card.
Are there other comments on this item?
I have a question from staff after the commissioner.
I think I need some clarification on this issue. We have voted on this previously?
The larger projects?
And as part of the budget, was it just included?
So there's two things prior. Most recently, we did have a vote on Elysian. That was the water quality improvement project with the reservoir and the park fundings. That's totally separate from this project. This project would have been included in our overall budget as one of the water recycling projects.
Okay, so I think what I'm having trouble with is that we're not expected to vote on this today because we've already voted on it. So it almost seems like, in my head, it's backwards, that we've voted the money before we discussed the program.
So in terms of the program, we have our overall recycled water program, just as we have programs for different other aspects that we pursue. There's a collection of projects within that, and each project is, they're usually conceptual or some are further along when the budget's presented because it is a 5-year budget. And as those projects materialize, and we either bring them through if there's CEQA required or a contract required for specific approval, when it comes the time for this. So at this point, we're actually, at the point just to approve the CEQA for the project, and we could either approve it as is. We could do a statement of overriding considerations, which means that the board elects not to accept what's been identified as the preferred environmental solution and selects a different solution, or we could defer and bring back additional information for you to hold off from the vote for that. And we don't have to make this action today if you don't want to.
But the fact that you have earlier supported the budget doesn't mean you've supported the funding for this contract. That's still in front of you.
Okay.
But is it not correct, excuse me if I I'm just trying to help clarify. If we're approving the CEQA documents, that doesn't lock anything in. That just gives us, these provide a framework for an evaluation of the property, I believe, or am I missing something?
Well, it would approve the project as identified with this route. It would not necessarily dictate that we couldn't work with the school on whether it's paving or construction sequencing and timing and that sort of thing, but it would select this route as the alternative.
When you say this route,
The route that Chuck identified
the
in
route,
red.
the red line,
Yes.
the more direct.
Right, because that's what the CEQA analysis was for, was when it went from a mitigated neg deck to actual EIR was
Okay.
to look at all the impacts and considerations and determine which was the environmentally superior route to take for this project.
I would like to just make an observation in that I would offer that the board be careful in circumventing the broader public process, hearing and commentary by, I think it's very important what the school said. I think it's an observation that is important to be made. But my then question is, well, what are the unintended consequences in the other people that we potentially would be impacting and who simply are not here to be able to
And
make
doesn't
those
the school
observations?
have the opportunity in the CEQA process to raise all of this and have all of this considered?
They do, and that's the letters that Chuck alluded to as well. And Marcy's correct that it's not necessarily an economic decision, this is a preferred solution, but it's looking at all the other impacts as well. So what we're not hearing from is the people on the other routes and businesses on the other routes or other places that there could be impacts.
That was that's part of what I was going to ask.
Who is the lead agency here? Are we the lead?
We are.
Are we the lead CEQA agency?
Yes.
So this is a CEQA approval then?
Yes.
Okay, can I continue? Okay. Let's see. Just to back up a minute, I understand that this is two projects, and I understand what will be done with the recycled water that will go to not the downtown. I'm looking for this. The Elysian Park. The 2 miles, the Elysian Valley. I understand where the recycled water will go there for irrigation.
Right. Yes.
But I'm not sure I understand where will the recycled water be, how will that be used in the downtown area, Cypress Park, Chinatown, downtown LA, and so on. How will that water be used?
Susan, well, do you want to go through the customer base? We have a number of customers for different uses. Want to go through the highlights of those?
We've identified a number of customers for our downtown water recycling project. Among those, we have USC would be one. There's some industries such as Matchmaster Dye facility. That's the LA Convention Center. We have the county actually down the street at Temple. So we have a whole list of potential users for the reclaimed water as we get it to this downtown project. So
that's
yes.
where, okay.
Yeah.
And you, in the report and what you mentioned today, on the public comments on the draft EIR, there were 229 comment letters. How would you break that out in terms of positive and negative?
I'm not sure the percentages, but most of the letters were regarding the Elysian Park and the concerns here with the Elysian Valley and the alignment with the school.
With the school?
Yes.
So there were so most of those comments were similar to what we heard today.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Well, isn't that normally the case if you have an EIR? Who's going to send in letters other than people who aren't happy about it?
Right. You don't oftentimes, occasionally, but
you're not usually getting a cheering section of letters.
Right, but that doesn't minimize the contribution of the 229 who
Yes.
had
Right.
concern.
That's true.
Right.
Well, it's when your ox is being gored, then you respond. On the other hand, these people are raising an issue. All right. I wanted to also mention something that Commissioner Funderburk started off with, and that is investment. And I think I understand we want to save the water. That's what our priority is. But I'm wondering is this the most efficient way to do it? We're talking about spending, almost $76 million. Is this, are we getting the value of that? And how long will it take to pay off that amount of money?
I'd like to answer. So this is part of what we'll bring back in better detail, but I can tell you that between these two projects, the cost per an acre foot of water is about $770. So that's well below the cost of replacement water. So these two projects combined alone with the customers we've identified will actually be a cheaper source of water for the city and offset potable use. And so this will ultimately save our customers money. And so, but we'll bring you those details so you can see the actual cost breakdown.
Okay. All right, I think that answers. Okay, and then where is the recycled water coming from? We talked about where it would go. So where is it coming from?
This is from the LA Glendale Recycled Water Plant.
LA Glendale?
Yes.
And then it goes to these two projects?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the plan along the LA River in Atwater area. And we take water across under the river and under the freeway into Griffith Park. And that water goes all the way up to as far as north as Universal Studios. And then there's a line we've been constructing south on San Fernando Road on the east side of the river. And so that's the water that we're picking up and need to cross into Elysian Park. And then Elysian Park will provide us the elevation and the storage that we need to feed the downtown project.
So are we looking in a broader sense and into the future that we have to do more in terms of recycled water? Is this?
Yeah, this is one of a set of the projects as part of our recycled water master plan. And so we realize that the kind of purple pipe projects are not, they're not, shouldn't go on forever because at some point they're not cost effective. This is part of the suite of projects that are cost effective to use recycled water for irrigation and other industrial uses. Ultimately, we plan to take advantage of all the recycled water the city produces. But this is one of the key couple projects that help us use the city's allotment out of the LA Glendale plant.
So are you treating this as a pilot program?
No, this is a production project.
It's
and it's
production.
we're using a lot of water out of that plant already. We still have more water to use. These are projects that have been identified for a long time to help us use the city's allotment.
Well, I think that for me, I think that there are some questions that need to be answered and some facts and figures. And I'm also, I would like the staff to look more into the route and the impact on the school. I'm familiar with Film LA and how important filming is to the economy of Los Angeles, and it obviously is helping the school. So I think that we really need to seriously look at this. I think that's a concern of that neighborhood. And when you ask neighborhoods for their input, you better listen to what they have to say or don't ask them for their input. I don't know what the next step is here.
I have a couple of questions as well. The general manager indicated that this pipe would just be buried. So what would be the impact of, how does it work in terms of once this is done, will there be a big pipe sticking up in front of the school, or will it be unnoticed?
There'll be nothing on the surface unless we put some kind of fire hydrant type assembly or something that you might see occasionally. But there'll be nothing left. We can look at paving because sometimes besides just a trench, we'll pave to the lane line or maybe pave curb to curb, depending on what's appropriate, and also working with the city and looking at their paving schedule. But so the only impacts are really during construction. We would propose to construct this actual piece using our own crews, so we have total control over timing. and make sure that we have no question about sensitivity to the school. So we would, look. We're planning already to do this when the school's not in session, and I understand the issue with filming, but we'll have complete control over the scheduling of this.
So will we be able to arrange for them, I mean, apparently when it's done it shouldn't impact filming, but during the process it could. Will we have the ability to enable them to continue to film during the process of construction?
When we're constructing, if we're in front of the school, they would not be able to set up and film there. But
and then that goes to Commissioner Fleming's question with regard to the pilot program that we did just establish in order to compensate businesses that lose income as a result of construction. Right. Would this qualify for that?
It doesn't qualify under the policy that we just adopted, but there's nothing stopping the board from saying that if we're going to cause them revenue that we couldn't make up for that, or maybe if we see the filming schedule, we can just schedule our work in between.
And one other question, how important is this project to meeting our recycling goals that have been established by the mayor and others?
Well, this project's critical because if we don't do this project, then we have to look to more expensive projects to find uses for the water. We have a lot of water out of the Los Angeles Glendale plant that we have planned to put to use, and this is one of the critical components of that.
Are you confident that we could structure this process in such a way that either the school would be compensated for lost revenue, or we could do this project in a way that would not disrupt the filming?
I think we could do that. We could either, first of all, we'll go back and look at how often filming is occurring, whether it's every single day in the summertime or if there's breaks. We could look at filming that's scheduled and coming up, try to insert ourselves in between there. If the worst case that we interfere with filming, then we could always make a decision to compensate the school the amount that they'd be losing. I understand they don't want to have filming go somewhere else, so that'd be the first choice, is to try not to interfere with filming at all.
Okay.
So would it be appropriate then to defer this to our next meeting when we can get some of this fleshed out?
In light of the importance of this to our recycling program, I'm comfortable with staff's assurances, and they can come back to us and we can figure out a way to help the school and make sure the school isn't going to suffer. But I'm concerned about the unintended consequences, about not moving the CEQA process along. I know that the general manager feels very strongly about that, and I tend to defer to her judgment on issues such as this. So on the one hand, I think the school has made an important case and we can be helpful to them. On the other hand, I'm personally reluctant to defer this.
Then would you entertain formalizing what you just said into the motion? Because I would agree with you, and I'd probably even be fine with the route. There's an awful lot of thought and guidance that went into constructing that route. But we ask these parents to do this all the time, right, to prop up failing public schools, to build all these programs. We want to raise all this money. They do exactly what we tell them to do. And the last thing I would want to do is kind of penalize them for doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
I'd be perfectly comfortable adding that to the motion.
May I offer one thing? As long as we, this is not mitigation for the project, we certainly can decide to do whatever the board wants to do. So it's not a CEQA mitigation under the law, but certainly whatever considerations the board would like to offer, absolutely we'll take care of.
Yeah, I don't know that it needs to be part of the CEQA process, but
you can include an instruction to staff.
Okay.
Yeah,
as mitigation.
No,
not as mitigation.
Let's be. You can accomplish the goal you would like to accomplish, but I would recommend against doing that in the CEQA document that is before you.
We'll have a separate instruction.
Correct.
The document.
The document before you is purely for environmental analysis.
So we don't amend this document, but we understand that we'll have a follow-on separate instruction to ensure that the school is not discomforted.
Correct. So that there are two ways.
Separate actions.
Yeah, those would be two separate actions. So one, we can notice that action for the next item, or you can give that instruction that when the project is actually brought back for you, that be included in the project.
I can go either way on it. What works?
What is included? Excuse me. When you say that it's included, so what is included in it?
The things you would like to address for the school.
I think maybe a separate instruction at this time would be better,
Yeah.
only because the project may come back in pieces. There'll be a contract to get under the freeway. There'll be other pipeline work. You may not see it cleanly packaged at once. It's better to have it now.
Okay, how would you frame it, Marty?
We did have one more speaker card on this item.
Okay, we'll take the speaker card and while Marty's figuring out how to frame it.
Okay, the speaker is Dr. Woodrow Clark.
I wanted to sit and kind of watch your meeting today, and I have to say that this particular issue and the perspective that you heard from the school district and from the school itself echoes a lot of my experience in preserving historical buildings, being careful that they're not destroyed, even in construction or repair. And I'm not even sure if this building is not maybe even designated a historical building legally. It probably could be from what I've heard. I haven't seen it. But I urge all of you to be very cautious, because when people talk about putting a pipe somewhere, and I've gone through this monitoring bond money in the LA Community College District and also in Beverly Hills, you have to watch it very, very carefully. And remember, even a comment from one of your staff about, oh, you won't see often the pipe hanging up or the system that's going to watch the turn off the water on. That's going to do a lot of damage to this school, and God forbid the pipe breaks at some point. So my basic question to all of you is, when you see this map, or the one that was here before, was that blue line the entire school? Because if that blue line is the entire school, you're talking about a pipe going under the school district. And I think that's a very, very difficult and questionable action.
You mean the red line, right?
The red line, yes.
So don't we have to watch pipes wherever they go? It doesn't any part of Los Angeles have potentially suffered
honestly,
here?
I always watch pipes, okay? But I'm saying in particular with schools,
Well,
particular
okay,
hospitals and places. So that's
we appreciate your comment, but it would apply to basically any other part of the city as well.
No, granted, I'm just saying the school I'm concerned about.
Well, okay, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
And if I could clarify, this pipe is in the public right of way. It's in the city street. At some point, we'll be replacing the pipe in the street that's actually supplying the school with water as well.
Yeah, I must say
so it's
that
not an unusual situation.
This added comment is not nearly as persuasive as what we've heard from the school themselves.
So,
Marty, how would you recommend that we proceed?
I would ask you to direct staff to work directly with the school and the school's representatives to ensure that we make every effort to minimize impacts to school activities, including use of the school facility for filming and other means that the school gains revenue, and that we also look at the project in its totality in terms of what the final finish on the surface should be in terms of paving, and to make sure that we leave the situation, leave the environment better than we find it when we get there.
Repeat that back, Mel.
So if we can make that as a separate motion and instruction.
This would be separate, yes.
Can I
Commissioner
add
Barad,
something?
yeah.
I wanted to add that staff would look into various various approaches regarding the placement of the pipes.
and my slight addition would just be to use the terminology, the fiscal impact, right?
Okay.
So we're talking about the school, say not just the impact on the school, but the fiscal impact.
Right. There should be, other than potential loss of revenue, there should be absolutely no impact on the school or its activities.
Marty, one thing, you said that this concreting, are we restoring it back to the condition that we found it? It's like my dad always says, put things back where you found them. Are we actually doing that, or is there going to be any modification to it?
We, depending on what street we work in, we always repave and we always fill the trench. Typically, a contractor, either us or the city, comes back and does whatever final paving. We do our best to coordinate with street services to make sure that we're not leaving a scar. On large pipelines, we frequently overpaved beyond just the trench area to minimize the impacts. I don't like when there's a cut that doesn't match the lane lines and things like that. So we will look for opportunities. We could certainly grind and refinish more of the surface so that there's nothing in appearance. Places like Griffith Park, we put a pipeline through. We restored everything far better than what it was when we got there.
The only reason I mention it is the conversation seems to be driven by this loss of revenue The loss of revenue is dependent on the aesthetic of the school. The aesthetic of the school depends on the producers or whoever taking whatever we saw and saying, am I going to get that when I do my shot? And so I think that we just need to we need to make it clear that we're not promising something we can't deliver here. I want to make sure that if they think that we're going to put it back the way we found it, then we actually do it. If we can't do it, we should just make it clear that we're not actually doing that.
We'll be able to do that, yes.
I think it's more than just aesthetics. It's really, nobody has really defined what the construction period is and how it would affect the school. What is the construction time frame? And tell me what it would be for the red as well as the blue option.
Sorry. Here is the school property.
Right.
And the building here. This would be about 2 weeks. From here to here is about 6 weeks. And it would be a rolling outage or impact.
What about
2 weeks in front of the school? Is that what you're saying?
We estimate about 2 weeks right here. And although this, yeah.
And the blue option?
The blue, that one's really probably the least favorable. One that everybody was talking about was the Altman, which is the yellow. There might be a hybrid where you come up here and go over here. Basically, this is 6 weeks. So if you look at it, you might add, for the blue, another 2 weeks to make up for this distance here.
Well, I'm just going to speak openly. You know, I have been approached by certain commissioners about how I've made a big deal about expenditures for DWP that really aren't in the millions, and I've been asked, you know, why do you make such a big deal over money that really isn't going to impact our budget? And I responded, I said, I do it on principle. I don't care if we're talking about $10 million or $200,000. But I do it on principle and according to my moral compass and guidance. And I appreciated this commissioner for speaking to me and indulging in my thought process. This time, you know, instead of trying to save the department money, I actually believe that we should expend the money for all of the reasons that we've discussed. I feel that we should look into whether or not this is a historical location. $200,000, like so many commissioners have told me, is not a lot of money given our budget. I think it may be the right thing to do. So on this vote, I'm going to say that I really would like this to be reviewed. And I don't feel comfortable with, as creative as your language was, I don't think that's going to bring a comfort to the school. And I also heard our general manager's comments that, you know, if the school complains, then other companies may complain. Well, we've done a lot of partnerships with LAUSD and the like, and I think that the mayor sees the department working collectively with our schools and benefiting our future generations. So on this particular item, I'm going to vote to defer it. If you decide to vote for it, I am going to state on the record that I think that it is in the best interest of our community to go with the blue line for $200,000.
Commissioner Fleming?
Kind of echoing what Commissioner Noonan is saying, that if there's a chance, I think this is a vitally important project, but it's also what do we figure at the end of the day, it's $70 million. Is there a chance that, I don't think 2 weeks is going to hamper us that much, at least in the secret document. Can we just ask for this to come back in 2 weeks with clarification, not on the entire program, right, but on all of this? So the different routes, the ups and downs of the different routes, the concerns that the school has expressed, the concerns that my fellow commissioners have expressed. And I just think if we come back in 2 weeks and just address this piece of this enormous project, I just think we'll get clarity and we'll feel better about moving forward.
I share that.
I asked that same thing about 15 minutes ago.
Okay, well, we should have said yes then. Okay, is there a motion to defer for 2 weeks?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's deferred for 2 weeks. And Marty, why don't you coordinate your troops?
And I'll bring back a second direction or two in case you approve this and want us to also have that direction to staff.
Let's see what the options are.
Yes.
Between now and then.
Okay.
Thank you. Item 27, authorization to issue up to, in the context of Commissioner Noonan's comparison of numbers, 304 million .5 of water system, but these are just bonds, revenue bonds, under resolution numbers 4910 and 4911.
Yes, good morning. The
Well
proposed resolutions authorize issuance of $304.5 million of water bonds slated to price at the end of the month. The maximum amount includes new money of $106.2 million as well as current refunding of approximately $200 million. And we anticipate the refinancing is expected to yield approximately $67 million in gross debt service savings for the water system, or 25% of its net present value savings of the refunded par. So we are asking for approval. This is the Series B bonds. You've got a report on the Series A bonds last board meeting. And just to also let you know, the power system, Moody's did upgrade the power system's bond rating to AA, and Fitch gave it its AA minus, but with a positive outlook. So we are asking for approval of this resolution.
Thank you. Questions, comments, motion?
I'll move.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
You got your very quick unanimous approval.
Thank you.
COO March 2016.
The report is in your packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on it.
Any questions? Power System, March 2016.
So 2 items I would like to highlight. The first is that award in front of me, and right now taller than Marty's, I want to point out, recognizes that we are the top, within the top 10, we are the 5th largest solar installer in 2015, as recognized by SEPA, the Smart Electric Power Alliance.
Is that California or
And
nationally?
This is nationally. We installed 247 megawatts, 5,000 sites. Now, the ones that are ahead of us are huge companies: Southern California Edison, Pacific Gas and Electric, and Duke Power. San Diego, not so much so, and we were 5th nationally. So we're very proud of that. And with all the improvements that we've made in the solar program to make it much faster for us, we expect 2016 to be a great year as well.
And we expect a taller response at that time.
We keep trying to beat the water system with our size of our trophies. Not that we're competing or anything like that. The other thing I wanted to mention in our power system report is we just completed the Lyman's Rodeo that was at our training center. We had 30 journeyman teams competing, and we had the #1 team for DWP. Carlos Galen, Sotero Ramos, and Mark Garcia. So that's pretty impressive. And we had 70 apprentice teams competing, and we did pretty well, 8 and 10 for that. So it was a fun time had by all, and some of these teams will be going to the international competition in Kansas City later this year. Other than that, if there's any questions on the report, I'd be glad to answer those.
Questions?
Do we have any women participating in that Lyman's Rodeo?
Do you know some that you want to know?
Linemen's rodeo.
Well, maybe it should be say line worker rodeo, because that'd be more appropriate. And we did not, and I did not see any women participating. In Kansas City, we did see women competing internationally.
Right.
Jill, I think that was a suggestion for you to consider.
Who are you? Who are you referring?
Commissioner Brock, she should consider whether she wants to compete next year.
We're nominating you for the Women's Rodeo.
She wasn't paying attention at the right time.
I'm busy that weekend.
Whatever weekend that is.
Whatever weekend it is.
RPS standard before this degenerates any further.
No further comments. Answer any questions if you have any.
Questions? Council?
At this point, we will recess into closed session, and in accordance with the California Government Code, we'll report any final actions taken thereon.
Oh, brother.